The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
Let me just say, after video distorting the belt, they're proclaiming the real world champion. I'm going to tell you all, with a tear in my eye, this is the greatest moment in my life. When you walk around this world and you tell everybody you're number one, the only way you get to stay number one is to be number one.
Woo! Welcome, everybody, to another edition of the Captain Lou Extravaganza live here on the Captain Lou Sports Network, powered up by the Belly Up Sports Network of podcasts. Sit back and enjoy as we bring you the latest and greatest in the world of sports, everything from the Detroit Lions to the state of Michigan sports to around the country and around the world. So what are you waiting for? Let's get out there and let's watch the latest edition of the Captain Lou Extravaganza. And good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Captain Lou Extravaganza. We are live. The Captain Sports Network on Twitter. On YouTube. We're also live on Twitter as well. You can catch us at Captain Lou on Twitter. Follow us on Facebook at the Captain Lou Extravaganza Facebook page, or my personal page. That, of course, is at Lewis Gamlin. So a lot to talk about tonight. Welcome. It's January 18th, 2022. And we are right in the middle of the NFL playoffs, and we had a great first weekend of Wildcard weekend playoff action. A colossal choke job by the Los Angeles Chargers. San Francisco flexing their muscles a little bit. And, of course, some of the other games, the Giants, really no surprise against Minnesota. And Dallas with a big win over Tampa. Is Tom Brady done? Is he going to play next year? Who knows? But scheduled to join us in a couple of moments, we're going to have our special guest, friend of the show from the Great White North, the Upper Peninsula. Jimmy Young's going to join us from WMPL in Houghton Hancock. He's up in Packer country. We'll get his view on what's going on in the NFL playoffs. We'll talk to him a little bit. What's going on in Packerland? Is Aaron Rodgers, in his opinion, going to come back? Does he think that 59.3 or 59.3 million reasons to come back, will that be enough to bring Aaron Rodgers back? So we got a lot to talk about tonight. I will give you my teaser picks for my teaser locks of the week for the divisional round of the playoffs. Got some good games lined up. There could be a couple of surprises. We'll talk about that as well throughout the broadcast. So, hey, sit back and enjoy. Like we say, we got a lot to talk about this weekend. We'll also talk about Jim Harbaugh. Sounds like he's going to stay. But I don't know if all is happy in Ann Arbor between him and Ward Manuel, the athletic director of the University of Michigan. So, hey, want to remind everybody that we are powered up by Belly Up Sports. And that's bellyupsports.com. Check out the website. We've got a lot of great articles on there, a very talented group of writers, and we have got such an awesome lineup of podcasts. Check it out. That's bellyupsports.com for all the latest and greatest in what's going on in the world of sports. We talk all kinds of sports with our podcast: baseball, football, basketball, hockey, and even soccer, some of the other sports as well. Make sure you check it out. That's bellyupsports.com. We will be back next week with a doubleheader on Tuesday night with our ACHA Power Play as well at 7 o'clock. And then, of course, coming up, another edition of the Captain Lou Extravaganza. But right now, let's join our guest line and let's bring in a friend of the show. It's always great to bring in this gentleman. He's got all the ins and outs of what's going on in Packerland and also in Upper Michigan. Jimmy Young. Jimmy, thanks for taking time out tonight. How are you, my friend?
Not too bad, Lou. How about you?
I'm doing all right. Great to have you on the show. Hey, great weekend of Wildcard weekend football this past weekend.
Yeah, it was fun to watch. And Lou, just to correct you, okay? I have some contacts in Packer land.
Okay.
But I'm not really intact. I have heard Aaron's girlfriend has left him.
Oh, boy.
And he's sleeping on some sort of diamond beds or something together now in his ballistic green earth or blue-green, whatever her name. She left a couple weeks ago.
Oh,
Actually,
boy.
I'm going to have Rick Dracanis on Peeking Aside the Grapevine tomorrow. Our Packerland insider is going to join us. And he's a high-end high school and college football official. He's my guy in Green Bay, but I kind of feed off others just to kind of, as they say, Lou, just kind of poke the bear a little bit. You know what I mean?
Well, you got to have a little bit of fun. You know, we were talking.
Yeah, absolutely.
We were talking before you came on real quick. Do you really think Aaron Rodgers is going to retire? I think he's got 59 million reasons to stay. You ready for this dog and pony show again this year?
First of all, everyone's seen it coming, Lou. This isn't a surprise. Brady's doing the same thing. Lamar Jackson, in a lesser sense, is doing the same thing. Does he need the money? Who knows? I don't think he does.
No.
But I think he still wants to play. And as much as we have fun with him, he's a high-level quarterback. He's a Hall of Famer. He's great for the game. He has planned his future out after he retires, like Peyton Manning has. But and where's he going to go if he wants to go somewhere else? Now well, I can still play. I can still be an MVP around the right situation. And he has no more monopoly money with Green Bay, Lou. But again, it's just it's this thing with him and McAfee and AJ Hawk. I mean that's pay-per-view.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, you can't beat it. But if he does play, I really don't see him going anywhere else. Because number one, who wants to inherit that kind of money?
Oh, boy.
And who wants to inherit the drama? Because you look at a lot of teams that are close to where he wants to be as far as going for a title. Do they actually want that? And number two, do they actually need it?
Right. No, I agree. I wouldn't. If I was a team contending, he's the last one I'd want to pick up because I don't think the Raiders would want him. I think if they go to any diva, it's going to be to Tom Brady. But I don't even know if he's, he's got his family and his kids to think about. Brady does, but I think he'd be more apt to go out there if not there, maybe Miami. But then what do you do with Tua?
Wow, and the Tua thing that's a whole different story. I cannot see Miami and Tua's first contract's done now.
Yeah,
and Lou, me and you go back in years. In sports, there's just one phrase in sports: your best ability is your availability.
Isn't that something? You're right.
He's not there.
No.
Lamar Jackson: your best ability is your availability.
Yeah.
It's not in as much. And Lamar Jackson to me is the biggest joker in this whole deal. He could have signed for all this money. He did this unofficial boycott the last 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Didn't even travel to the playoff game. And him and no matter how much you're covering this fiasco up, there's a rift with him and Harbaugh. Word is he's going out of town. There's 5 teams that might be suiting for him, but again, if you're a franchise, especially right on the cusp, are you going to pay these guys like Tagovailoa and your Jacksons when you don't? More likely 10 to 13 games, and end of the day we go to Randall Cunningham, we go to all these quarterbacks who run like you know what.
Yeah.
They don't survive in that league long term or durability. It just doesn't work.
Jimmy, here's what I look at too. You look at a team like Arizona that paid Kyler Murray all that guaranteed money, and Lamar Jackson's looking at that and saying, hey, look at Russell Wilson, all that guaranteed money he's getting. And he's, he might be a shell of himself. And I just,
right.
Holy, you hit the nail on the head, man. Monopoly money. It's crazy. It's unfathomable how much money they're dishing out. But, obviously they can afford it. They keep paying it.
Keep paying it are guys like me and you who can't afford it.
Right. Yeah, no
but
shit.
We still do it once a year.
Well, yeah, exactly.
But I mean, it's become when you look at this and And let's face it, the NFL is the richest business period in the world. No questions asked in the world. And but it's just these overlapping dramas and soap operas and stories, but everyone's acting surprised. Oh, Rodgers doing it again. Brady's doing it again. My question is, why in the bleep are you acting surprised?
Yeah.
You know what's going to happen. There's going to be a bunch of noise and a bunch of propaganda for absolutely nothing.
Exactly.
And one guy I agree. If one's going to go, Brady's going to go probably to Las Vegas. But and again, is Vegas interested in that? And why would Brady want to go there when that is a complete disaster?
Mm-hmm.
To me, the best team to go to, Lou, is Houston. Although they don't like black coaches, it's a racist owner.
Yeah.
But you've got 11 draft picks coming up in the next 2 years.
Oh, boy. Yeah.
Not 1, not 2, not 8, 9, 10, 11. But who wants to go work for that owner who, let's face it, the last 2 black coaches he hired him for the intention to fire him just to check the proverbial box. And I hate to say it, but that's exactly what happened.
What do you think of Lovie Smith? He probably knew he was out the door. That's why he went for 2 in that last game, just so it would screw Houston out of the number 1 draft pick.
Let's face it, Lou, a lot of these NFL owners are the old guard, the old school. And again, money is not an object, but there's certain places it's a good culture. I mean, you look at Mike McCarthy. Think of Mike McCarthy.
Mm-hmm.
How much do people still want to run him out of Dallas?
Yeah.
Last 2 years, 12 wins.
Yeah.
Playoff win, Super Bowl win. His playoff winning percentage is better than probably 3 or 4 really good coaches. I seen that today. I can't recall who they are. But you think of Mike McCarthy. He worked for one franchise, won a Super Bowl with basically absentee ownership, Lou.
Yeah.
He goes to Dallas. In 2 years, he wins in 24 games. He works with the biggest memory. He works with the biggest memory and ownership in football, and Jerry Jones. How people keep want to get rid of this guy, I find baffling.
Yeah.
Be careful when you want to run someone out of town because you don't know what's coming up behind them, and it might not be what you're and it might not be what you're looking for, Lou. It really won't be.
Well, Jimmy, let's talk about the play on the field. I like to refer to you sometimes as my dose of realism. Now,
oh boy, Lou, we're in trouble. We're in trouble here, Lou. We're in big trouble.
Well, me being a Lions fan, I would have loved nothing more than obviously for the Lions to sneak into the playoffs. Now, I'm tired of hearing the crap about the blown call in the Seattle Rams game. If Detroit would have made Seattle punt once in that game when they played them, they might have been there. But what I'm leading to is I don't care who played San Francisco. Would have been Green Bay, Detroit, or Seattle. All 3 of those teams would have got boat raced like Seattle did. And I got to tell you, I love what Seattle's doing. San Francisco's doing with, McCaffrey. To me, what a get for them. They're complete on both sides of the ball. They're winning with a 7th round draft pick quarterback. And man, I just like how San Francisco's playing. You think they can keep it up, Jim?
Well, someone, we're going to tell me, Lou, came in my house right now with me and my 9-year-old adopted cat, Cosmo, who's sleeping again. Shocking. If someone told me, here's $100, who's going to win? I would take about 3 seconds. The whole thing, San Francisco.
Yeah.
You've got Purdy, who just has to maintain a game.
Yeah.
Look at the weapons, Lou.
Oh, my God.
Ayuk, Samuel, Kittle. You got an all-world fullback and UTEC. And McCaffrey. And that's not the best side of your football.
No.
Your offensive line, you got one of the best tackles in football in Williams, a Hall of Famer, first ballot. He should get in the Hall of Fame before he's done playing. He's that good. A former Redskin, I might add.
Of course.
I mean, and we're not talking the best side of the football.
Yeah.
I mean, so many analysts want to say, hey, I mean, we hope San Francisco goes 4-0 so we can see their defense play. Then you got that group on the other side of the football.
Bosa's player of the year.
Special teams.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy doesn't miss an extra point, doesn't miss. I mean, the former Bear kicker, I think, whoever's over there.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, and I'm not buying Philadelphia. I'm not. I mean, they might steal a game this weekend, but how San Francisco, to me, is getting so, to this day, not even looked at. Look at the tools and the parts they have. Coaching, one of the best brilliant minds in the game. A defensive coordinator who everyone wants to be their head coach, which I hate because coordinators 9 out of 10 aren't head coaches.
Right.
There's a reason they're coordinators. They got it all. And not only do they have it all, Lou, but they got it all on high-end positions on offense. I mean, again, Ayuk, Sambo, McCaffrey, UTEP, a quarterback who's throwing darts out there in the middle of nowhere. And I think probably the wild card of the whole thing is Kittle. I mean, you can't stop them. And then if you go 4-0, well, here comes easy loving animals on the other side. When you're already down by 1, maybe 2 possessions. I mean, but after saying that, who knows? But if someone told me, here, how much you want, San Francisco, I don't want to know the point. See you later. I would say that right to him right now.
Well, here's the thing, Jimmy. I like to. I've been known to like to put a couple of shackles on a game with my little DraftKings app, and
sure. Right.
I like doing a 6-point teaser. I have my 6-point teaser lock of the week, and this is my lock of the week. I'm going to give it out. If you take 6 points, that means San Francisco is a 2.5-point dog at home. And I'm going to take that and over 40.5 for the total points, and you get positive money. Okay. And that to me is my lock of the week right there. So if you bet it normally, they're only spotting Dallas 3.5 points at home. And I like Dallas, but I don't like their defense. I mean, I think Prescott played a hell of a game, but then again, Tampa Bay was 8-9 in the playoffs. I mean, I don't want to take anything away from Dallas. They won. They deserved to win. I thought Prescott played really well, but God, just like you said, San Francisco's loaded. Holy cow.
Well, and the thing is, everybody's jumping on, and again, it's propaganda. Mm-hmm. They're going to grab the Dallas-San Francisco game back in the 80s, back to the Jimmy Johnson, back to I mean, again, one reminder, San Francisco's defense might be a little bit better than Tampa's defense.
Yeah.
I mean, it just and Prescott, you're going to get it from. And I give it to Dallas. They played great. I had Tampa winning that game, but I didn't think it would be that. I give Dallas credit, but I mean, and now they're riding high. And if they lose, they got the built-in excuse.
Yeah,
they played Sunday night, or Monday nights. So that excuse has been putting granite with everyone else out there. But and Lou, I agree with you on your pick. This is in Sanford. Now they can smell it.
Yep.
Now they can. You're there, but yeah, I think that game's going to be not as close as the bookies have it. I really do.
I don't either, but I'm going to take the safe bet. It's still positive money. Hey, how concerned are you with Buffalo against Cincinnati this weekend?
Wow, but Buffalo scares me.
Yeah.
I mean, Buffalo really scares me. Josh Allen has thrown the ball over the parking lot.
He sure
I mean, it's all or nothing. It's all or nothing. He's just. I mean, a couple of those throws last week. I mean, I want to be careful how I say this. The Hamlin thing is cool, but let it go.
Yeah,
let it go. I mean, we've seen injuries like this but they're still. I think they're riding this a little bit too much, and they have to. I'll respect the situation.
Right.
But Buffalo right now to me is but that's a tough game to take. I mean, I think Buffalo, but I love Burrow, I love Cincinnati, but I think everything is looking right now how Cincinnati is going to steal that game. Mm-hmm. I'm starting to think that might be going against the grain now with Buffalo feeding off that.
Yeah.
Be honest, I can't get a read on that. I'm as far as that goes, what are your thoughts on that game, Lou?
Boy,
I'm on the fence with that one right now. I really am.
Great minds think alike, Jimmy. I'm getting the proverbial coin out on that one. I'm not touching as a bettor. I'm not touching it. I'm not even going to go near it. I'm going to sit back and enjoy the game. That one, I just can't because I'm with you. Cincinnati looked good last weekend, but Baltimore, I mean, I think, offensively they were a mess, but now one of those interceptions I don't think was on Allen, because it bounced off right off the
Right.
receiver's chest. But boy, they've made a lot of mistakes, I tell you. Another game last weekend, they're kind of in our neck of the woods. I am not surprised at all, Jimmy, that the Giants did what they did in Minnesota. I think they've been a fraud. You talk about a defense that doesn't show up. That's the Vikings.
Well, and I don't do much recreation gambling anymore, but that's the one game I took in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
The Vikings were on fools going up all year. And Dave, I love Dave on a coach. I mean, I love the guy.
Yeah, yeah.
And the Giants, you could see them. You could see them building for this.
Mm-hmm.
And Daniel Jones, I mean, had the game of his life.
Yeah.
I mean, let's face it. And the Giants is a good, and they punch you in the teeth. They'll do the body blow. They'll do the shot below the shoulder pad where there's no padding. They beat the you-know-what out of you. And sooner or later, you had a hunch this Viking thing was going to come to an end. And Kirk Cousins, again, he's won one big game in his whole life.
He didn't play at 1 o'clock. That's the problem. He only wins at 1 o'clock.
Ever since he put that 30-pound chain on the airplane on his neck a couple of weeks, it kind of went to you-know-what. But
yeah,
that game didn't surprise me at all. And I took that pick in my pick last week on my show. But it didn't surprise me at all. And I was actually surprised how easy they did it, though.
Yeah.
They manhandled them. They punched it. And again, high-end players like Jefferson, Delvin Cook, you hit them a couple times hard in the teeth, in the headlamps.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of become, a little bit.
That's a great point.
I don't want to say witness protection, but a little bit kind of. These in the playoffs, a good friend of mine, the late Chuck Klingbeil, who played for the Miami Dolphins.
Yes.
Very close friend, All-American at Northern Michigan. I coached him in hockey years ago.
Wow.
And when he played up in Canada, he was a defensive MVP for the Saskatchewan Roughriders in the Grey Cup. Then he went to Miami, played for Don Shula and the Dolphins. He recovered the fumble to get Don Shula's record victory when Don Mikowski fumbled in the end zone. And Chuck told me, and he passed off, unfortunately, a couple years ago, tragically had a heart attack on an airplane in Florida. But me and him would hang out in the summer, and he told me in the playoffs, the intensity in the trenches is every player you're in a head-on collision. It's just, regular season is vicious.
Oh, yeah.
Playoffs, he said. And that's when I was watching that Giant Minnesota game. First thing I thought about was when Chuck told me that. We're sitting in the house, and he's telling me this one day when he was up here retired, and we watched the games together.
Mm-hmm.
It's war, man.
Wow.
And that Giant, if you're not ready to play with that Giant team, win, lose, or draw, you might be in for a long day, Lou. You really might be.
Well, that's funny because I want to throw this one. I always pick 2 6-point teaser locks, parlays, and this is my other one. The Giants are 7.5-point underdogs going into Philly. So if you add 6 to that, I'm going to take them getting 13.5, and I'm going to go under 55 for total points. That would put it at you would get it's plus 105, which obviously means you bet a sawbuck, you'd get $10.50 back.
Right.
Yeah, and
the 6-point lock. What do you need? I'll give you my credit card now, Lou. 6-point lock. That game is going to be a lot closer than the other.
I think so.
And again, you got the NFC East. You got and the Giants. They don't seem phased, and that coach. I love Dable.
Yeah.
And again, with Philadelphia, you hit Hurts once or twice.
I don't think he's healthy.
Take him through. And Daniel Jones, keep in mind the way he runs. What's Philadelphia's defensive weakness? All year, their defense in front is solid.
Yeah.
Their pass defense is solid. But you look at all the teams they played, they have one deficiency.
Yeah.
Running quarterbacks.
Yeah.
They have problems with them. They have them all year. Not saying it's going to happen. But to me, this is the best game on the board. That's probably not getting the publicity for being the best game on the board because the San Francisco Dallas thing, it happened over years ago. But this Giant Philadelphia game is going to be great theater. I really think that.
Well, and then of course we got the other one coming up with the Chiefs and the Jaguars. Man, I tell you, I don't know what to think of the Chargers anymore. It's funny. I was doing a hockey game Saturday night, Jimmy, and it was 27-0. I thought, well, I don't have to check on this one. I got in the car and it's like, holy crap. She's almost tied up, you know?
I said the same thing. I was doing a game that night and I turned it off. My gosh. And I got up in the morning and I realized, here's the dude doing what happened here? Who won?
Yeah.
I'm looking at this. But it's all the talent in San Fran and I want to say San Diego.
Yeah, me too.
But then Staley keeps his job. They fire every coordinator in hell's last half acre, excuse my French.
Oh, it's all right.
But, I can't believe. And again, Peyton's out there. It's a Peyton sweepstakes. Peyton doesn't he doesn't want to work for the Chargers ownership because they want hands-on.
Yeah.
So throw that one right out the door. But, that's bad. That wasn't good. And them going to Kansas City, it's going to be similar to what we've seen in the past with the few teams in Kansas. My opinion, anyway, Lou. What we've seen in Tennessee going there a couple years ago, and it'll be close for a while. But at the end of the day, it's a dog, Lou. It's a dog.
Yeah, I got Kansas City winning by double digits in that one too.
It's not gonna. And the Jaguars are a good up and coming team.
Yeah,
and it goes back to that AFC South division.
Yeah,
who's the best team that you might want to take over if you got rid of the owner is Houston.
Mm-hmm.
That division is why you look at the Colts are an absolute disaster.
Yeah.
Tennessee, no idea what's going on there. The way they fell apart down the back end.
Yeah.
In Jacksonville, and a novel idea, isn't it, Lou? All these coordinators who are hired and fired. What did Jackson do? They brought a coach who won a Super Bowl 3-4 years ago. And losing record or not, you're in the second round of the playoffs.
Yeah.
What a novel idea to bring an actual coach in the coach of football team. Hey, Lou?
Yeah. Oh, I'm telling you. And
isn't it a novel?
And he's turning Trevor Lawrence into a very, very good NFL quarterback. He's not elite yet, but he's serviceable and he's learning, and you got a playoff game under his belt now. Holy crap. I look at that. You talked about Indianapolis, a fiasco there. And I'm telling you, Jimmy, they're going to end up keeping Jeff Saturday as a coach. I honestly believe that. It's because he's the owner's buddy.
You think they're going to keep him?
It wouldn't surprise me down there. Let's just say that.
Wow, I'd be shocked when that happens.
Well,
But you know what? After you said that, Lou, there's not much leaking out at who they're talking to.
No, I mean,
there's nothing out there.
Yeah, there isn't. The guy from Detroit, Ben Johnson, I thought he was a lock for Carolina, but he's staying in Detroit, and then it brings me up to our friend in Ann Arbor.
Oh, here we go.
Jimmy boy, the Jim Harbaugh circus is over. Well, for now, until next week, anyways, with either the sanctions, Jimmy, or, let's just say he and Ward Manuel won't be breaking bread anytime soon, I don't think.
Well, it's almost, I compare it to the Rodgers issue.
Yeah.
It's almost like it's scripted. Let's just put this stuff out there.
Yeah.
I mean, he hasn't got the high-end contract yet, correct?
They're still working on it. Nothing's been announced yet. Nope.
Well, Lou, me and you are working on things too for the last 25 years. Okay?
Exactly.
Something, I think.
Yeah.
But last year he did the interview in Minnesota on recruiting day. Him and the Wolf family didn't get along. This year, supposedly he talked. I mean, he said he wants to stay. Now, I think he's going to. Again, my thoughts on the Big Ten. It's 2-3 teams deep, and after that, you're in tough.
Yeah.
I really do once you get in the national level. But Then you throw in the sideshow with the pending sanctions out there.
Yeah.
Then you throw the latest sideshow in with the what I see, the coordinator, somebody with the police investigation. Weiss now he's been told to go disappear somewhere in that Lake Bohemia or something or the other. Go hide up. We get this figured out.
Yeah, exactly.
I still think Jim Harbaugh is a better NFL coach than a college. Yeah, he turned around Michigan in the Big Ten, and I'm a diehard Michigan fan and respect my late brother. I bought him, but I still think the Big Ten is Ohio State. After that, it drops off, and we've seen it in the recent playoffs.
Oh yeah.
Wow, I kept seeing these. Well, if Alabama played Michigan or not, or Georgia played Michigan should have beat TCU. You didn't beat them. End of conversation.
Right.
TCU punched you in the face for 3.5 quarters.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't beat them. If and buts, candy and nuts.
Exactly. Yeah.
But when you look at all this stuff, I still want to be surprised if he moved. I don't think he will. But when you see these dominoes, because the whole joker is Sean Payton. Where's he going to go? A lot of people think Denver. A lot of people and who else? There's a bunch of other openings out there. The Chargers, they still think Staley might be let go after we rethink things. But that whole Michigan fiasco, it's almost like a 24-month Seinfeld episode.
Oh.
Lou, it really is.
Well, you know what happened with the hockey situation and with the baseball coach. And I'm
very close with the hockey deal, man.
Yes.
Me and Mel are great friends.
Yes. And Ward Manuel to me is the one that needs to go. And I think he's kind of
at the end of the day. Yeah.
And when the president, Santa Ono, has to step in and make the phone calls and all this and that, that's not good. It reminds me a lot of Michigan State from about 20 years ago when Nick Saban left, and it's a comedy. But, Jimmy, to your point about him leaving, the reason I thought he was going to go, and I still think this might be his last year, is we've talked about this with all this NIL and transfer portal stuff. He's going to be 60 years old. How do these coaches, how do they put up with this crap? Now not only do you got to go into a parent's house and a kid's house and kiss their butts to play, you don't know if they're going to stay. You don't play them for one game. They're going to want to transfer. I don't know how a guy like Izzo, God bless him. I don't know how he puts up with it for 30 years. I give him credit.
Well, especially look now, I see in the Florida recruit top quarterback. He wants out because something went south with $13 million or something or the other. And again, the attraction, I'll circle back with college hockey. The Arizona Sun Devils. And I'm a big supporter of them. I know a big friend of mine who started that club team on there.
Yeah.
And me and him are dear friends, Joe Palmer. And what recruit wouldn't want to go to Arizona and play hockey at a high Division I school when you can give them this national likeness stuff?
Yeah.
And again, big time college football, and it's. I don't think Michigan's behind the 8 ball on this, but in Nick Saban's, he's off the grid. He's very. Kirby Smart owns college football right now.
He does.
To me, that's not even close.
Nope. I agree.
Yeah, that it's basically, and I keep telling people this when they ask me, it's free agency in Division I college sports.
It is.
No more, no less.
It is.
What do you have to offer? You got to factor in your university, your living conditions, what you can do while you're not playing, and all these other things. And again, Ohio State is a little bit more to offer, but Penn State, there was Franklin you got out there, but it's tough. But yeah, it's in college coaching is a full-time job. You got to coach, you've got to recruit, you got to close the deal. You can send your assistants in to smooth the parents and whatnot, but the head coach eventually you got to go in that living room and make this deal final. And after a while, that's so bleeping demanding from what I've been told by people who do it.
And it
again, it's a tough barbecue. It really is.
Now I can see why all these years ago when Judd Heathcote quit recruiting to these
Oh, yeah.
schools, you know, and you wondered why that kind of dropped off. He had Tom Izzo do it before he became head coach. Now you can see why. And, it's funny with all this NIL and everything, the university is not supposed to direct you, but from what I'm told from someone I trust that knows a head coach real well in the Big Ten, these coaches say, hey, to the parents, while you're in town, why don't you go visit so-and-so's car dealership or whatever, and they don't technically take them there, but, and, that's where the NIL starts. And that's kind of where they can get, it's kind of funny that way,
Where do I go?
Oh, there you are. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you, Lou.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
I say, as far as a player, how are you going to say no to that?
Right. Yeah.
You're going to go. Yeah. I mean, and it becomes, well, let's face it, these high-end athletes who are being recruited at this high-end level, their parents are wealthy. I mean, they're in good shape, but I mean, it gets to the point where it's just like, wow, this is pretty cool. And thing is, you can't blame them. You can't.
No.
But I mean, I go to Jay Wright at Villanova, basketball coach, phenomenal coach.
Yes.
How many Final Fours did he get with 4 or 5 year players?
Mm-hmm.
They did it the right way.
Yeah.
People bash Calipari for the one and dones, but I defended him because everyone could do it.
Yeah.
Look at Butler years ago, getting to the Final Four a couple years.
Yeah.
But it's got to the point now where, I mean, that's why Jay Wright quit Villanova last year. I can't do this anymore. Coach K at Duke in basketball. Calipari's at the back end of it now at Kentucky. He's always, and I put him and Saban in the same paragraph with some of the top coaches ever to coach college sports, period.
Yeah. Yep.
College hockey isn't too far behind it right now.
No.
It really isn't.
No.
It really isn't. I mean, you look at the balance of power, you look at the Nacho League. I mean, North Dakota. I mean, good God.
Yeah.
Every year. I mean, it's so hard when you look at these people trying to compete, and I mean, there's a reason these same 2 or 3 or 4 teams are there at the end of the day in the group of 6 or 8 or 12. It's not by accident, and this really didn't help. And then when you look at what you can offer these kids and the parents, and now you can do it legally. But Lou, me and you still can't buy a college hockey, football, basketball player a hamburger at the local restaurant.
No, we can't. Can't buy them a hot dog.
Violating.
Yeah,
I mean,
no kidding.
What a circus.
Yeah. Fun. Last thing before I let you go, Jim, you touched on Arizona State and Arizona with their club hockey. I talked to my stepson who he lives out in Arizona. He was out at the game last night. I asked him how the new rink was, where the Coyotes play. He said it was like watching a game at Munn. He said it was 70% Red Wings fans. Obviously, the Red Wings spit the bit, lost the game, lost a 2-goal lead last night. But he said it was a pretty cool looking stadium. But you and I have talked about this. And it's funny. He said there's one way to get into the stadium. He said, but there isn't a bad seat in the house for a 5,000 seat barn. He said it was a little different, but I still am shocked that the Coyotes in the NHL or the NHL would let the Coyotes play in a rink that small.
Well, it's an embarrassment. And again, a good friend of mine works out there. He runs the penalty box and the players' bench for the college games. And I'm good friends with Ken Keller, a Red Wings radio guy. He posts something. He had a little tutorial on his Twitter page where all the teams how the Red Wings had to walk probably 2 city blocks to get onto the ice.
Wow.
And that got ripped apart a little bit, but the building I understand is phenomenal.
That's what I hear.
And it's still under construction. But yeah, just the whole picture. An NHL team playing in a 5,000 seat arena. They have been paying taxes at 3 different municipalities in the state of Arizona. To me, it's the biggest mystery in pro sports how that team is still held hostage in Arizona when you've got at least 4 or 5 other cities and their provinces and their states who could thrive and make millions of dollars. So I don't know what's going on with that, but again, no disrespect to what they're doing there,
Yeah.
but to me, an NHL game with 5,000 seats and after home games are probably 80-90% full.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, and especially on the competitive balance, Lou.
Right.
As a free agent, would you want to go there?
No, not at all. I'd rather go to Quebec City. I'd rather go to Quebec City. You know, it's like
and you throw in Milwaukee, who never get it because the Blackhawks will roadblock that in a half second.
Yeah.
But you got Hamilton, where Buffalo and Toronto will roadblock that.
You know.
But there's got to be something here, and how many times did the NHL run that franchise? Twice, I think, in the last 12 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because of bankruptcy.
It's amazing.
Last year, they were so delinquent on taxes, or 2 years ago, that's where they had to make the move. Now, I understand they're still trying to get the new multi-zillion-dollar facility out there. I don't know if that's approved or not. I hope it does get approved, but I can't see that happening. But again, to me, 5,000-seat arena for the NHL game, and you still can't sell it out unless you got Detroit there, or Chicago there, or Montreal. I mean, the Red Wing fans alone are going to sell that place out.
Oh, heck yeah.
A good friend of mine was there too last night. Well, Joe and his wife Sarah were there.
Yeah.
He said it was raucous, but
it's
$8.50 for a glass of Diet Coke. So there you go.
God, there you go, Jimmy. There you go. Exactly. Hey, I know you've had some. Speaking of hockey at the high school level, you've had some great games to see this year with some good teams. I know Houghton's right up there, number one in this. Yeah, and you got some big ones again this weekend. It's nice how these Lower Michigan teams make the trip up there to play just about every weekend, it seems like.
What's been happening for years? I mean, last week we had, who did I have last week? Brother Rice. Week before, Heartland, Brightland comes up. I mean, the heavies come up here. They want to play the local teams.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and over the years, Calumet's been to the Final Four. Houghton, I think 5 or 6 state championships, or 8 state championships between those two teams over the years. And Calumet, the legendary late Jim Crawford, who passed away tragically in a house fire probably a couple months ago.
Mm-hmm.
6 state titles. But all these teams love coming up. They don't require a return trip. They love the culture. They love the old barns.
Oh.
But the quality of hockey, Lou, I mean, it is. And this week, what do I got Friday? I've got Plymouth Salem's coming up. I'll have the Plymouth Salem Calumet game Friday and the Granville Hancock game Saturday. Next Friday, Lou, a special treat. The number 2 team in the state of Wisconsin, Bayport's coming up to play the number 2 team in the state of Michigan, Houghton.
Man.
Now, Houghton's the number 1 overall in Division 3.
Yeah.
Number 2 overall in the super rankings.
I saw that. That's awesome.
In the Trenton Showcase, which I'll have February 3rd and 4th, a 12:40 game, East Grand Rapids at Calumet. But the feature game of the whole showcase, which I'll cover, the number 1 team in the state of Michigan, Detroit Catholic Central, will play the number 2 team in the state of Michigan, Houghton. That'll be a 3:30 game on Mix 93 on Friday the 3rd, February 3rd. That Trenton Showcase, Lou, if you're available, if you've never been there, 3 days of non-stop hockey from teams from Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Illinois, and I think one's coming out from it's and you're matched up equally against teams. But that marquee matchup, everybody wanted it, they got it, and I'll have the broadcast of it. Number 1 and number 2 overall, Catholic Central and Houghton. And then Houghton has to play, been matched up. And this is a showcase. Every college scout and junior scout in the country in North America is there for the most part.
Wow.
Then Saturday, Houghton has Lake Forest Prep out of Chicago. I think they're the number 3 team in Illinois overall. And that'll be a 120 game. But yeah, high school hockey is phenomenal, high end, and especially this year, Houghton's absolutely loaded, and then Calumet and Hancock are always hanging around.
Oh yeah.
How we get these teams that come up every year, it's an absolute treat, and I've been blessed to be a big part of that over the years, Lou.
Well, Jimmy, I'll be in touch with you if you're coming down for that. I'll try to sneak over to. We'll visit. I'll catch one of those games. I'll be in touch with you on that here shortly. I got to let you go, my friend. Thanks for coming on tonight. This has been fun. I appreciate it. And
we had a blast. And Lou, if you come there's a pretty darn good hospitality room.
Okay.
And at the Kennedy Rec Center, for those who haven't been there, and I don't know if you've been there or not, Lou.
No.
There's a practice rink where the lower seed teams play.
Okay.
Then you got two main rinks. You got an Olympic-sized sheet and a regular-sized sheet where the high-end games are.
Okay.
Between the two rinks, Lou, end to end, goal line to goal line, there's a hallway, okay, with two restaurants/lounges in the middle. You can sit right in the middle of that area and watch the game from side by side.
Wow, that's got my name. That's calling my name all over it. I might have to take a run down
really
there.
for your listeners out there, and I'm guessing some who are tuned in have probably been there.
Yeah,
It's a phenomenal spectacle to see. If you hate hockey, to go there, how that City of Trenton rolls the red carpet out, it's absolutely phenomenal. And the precision and how that everything is just absolutely. And the hockey, Lou, is phenomenal. It's absolutely phenomenal.
excellent. I will be in touch. I'll give you a call Sunday, and so I can get the more details on it. How's that?
Sounds good, Lou.
All right, Jim. Thanks for coming on tonight. I appreciate it. Look forward to coming on your show next week too.
Yeah, next Thursday, correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. Send me a reminder on that too, Lou, because I'll probably forget in about 10 minutes.
Oh, no problem. Thanks again, Jimmy. Enjoy the hockey this weekend and the football. We'll talk to you soon.
Because Lou, take care. I love you, man. And
All right, love you too,
keep your
brother.
dream alive.
All right, you too. Thank you.
And we'll see you. Bye.
Bye-bye. Jimmy Young, friend of the show, as always, the voice of hockey in the Upper Peninsula, Michigan. If you get a chance, if you're ever up there, you know, they did the craft hockey, the craft hockey program where they donate the money to refurbish the stadiums every year. And they did the Calumet Coliseum. There's a picture of it on the Captain Lou Extravaganza Facebook page. I was there. Oh gosh. Has it been 4 years ago already? It's over 100 years old. It's a beautiful facility. Great hockey, as Jimmy mentioned. The Upper Peninsula, Michigan, with the college hockey and the birth of professional hockey up there just outside of Houghton is phenomenal. Jimmy's always a treat to have on the program. And again, if you're in the Detroit area in Trenton, the weekend of February 3rd and 4th, I strongly suggest you go to those games because it is some of the best high school hockey you will see in the country, for sure. You're watching the Captain Lou Extravaganza here on the Captain Lou Sports Network on YouTube. Of course, we are powered up by Belly Up Sports, and that is bellyupsports.com. You can see a replay of this anytime or any of our shows on the Captain Lou Sports Network on YouTube. We've got a special treat. Friday night, we're going to be in charge of doing a big ACHA hockey game. Speaking of that, the Aquinas College game against Indiana Tech. Indiana Tech, the number 7 team in the ACHA Men's Division I. We're going to have the broadcast on the Captain Lou Sports Network. 8 o'clock puck drop, 7:45 we'll be on with the pregame. So make sure you check that out. Some of the best college hockey around, technically club hockey, but I'll tell you what, you'd never know by watching them. And these are two very good teams. Indiana Tech, a perennial powerhouse, always a participant in the national tournament, which will be in Boston this year. And of course, Aquinas, they've made the trip from Division III up to Division I. They've won a national championship in the past, and they've been runner-up, and they've been in the national tournament 4 out of the last 5 years, and they're looking to get back. So it's going to be a great show, and we get the privilege of bringing that to you right here on the network, powered up by Belly Up Sports, bellyupsports.com, as we mentioned. So anyways, we'll get back here shortly. We're going to give you our locks of the week. We talked about it with Jimmy Young. I kind of spilled the beans. If you get a chance, if you want to support the program, the creator here, that's yours truly. Send a digital gift. Just send a star through Facebook, and that helps us out a little bit. This kind of helps keep us going here. Just thought I'd share that with you here on the broadcast. Now let's get back to talking a little bit about the football games coming up this weekend. We mentioned it with Jimmy. I'm going to give you the lines of the game right now just to kind of show you the current odds from DraftKings. Kansas City's an 8.5-point favorite over Jacksonville at home. Then you got Philadelphia -7.5 over the Giants, the nightcap on Saturday night. Buffalo -5 over Cincinnati, and San Francisco -3.5 over Dallas. if I'm a betting man, which I am, you all know that with my 6-point teaser locks, the two games I think there's no such thing as a sure thing. I honestly thought Buffalo would beat Miami a lot worse than they did, and they hung on because they kind of spit the bit and did everything in their power to keep Miami into that game. There's no reason that they should have only won by 3 against a third-string quarterback and Skylar Thompson. That one kind of scares me a little bit with Cincinnati, only a 5-point favorite at home. Cincinnati, they look pretty good. Now, granted, it was Baltimore and it was Tyler Huntley, who could barely throw the ball, and they needed a 98-yard touchdown on a fumble return to be the difference in that game. I'm going to go with Buffalo at home, but I think that 5 points is a lot. I really believe that's going to be a high-scoring game in that one. If I bet on that one, I'm taking the over. The other game, I think I agree wholeheartedly with Jimmy. I've been saying this all week to anybody who will listen. The Giants, to me, are a scary team. They're gaining confidence. Brian Daboll, Jimmy's exactly right. He's one hell of a coach, and he's turned that around. He's made believers in that Giant team. And they're going to Philadelphia, and, it's another one of those things where I don't know how healthy Jalen Hurts really is. That team's kind of banged up. The Giants are getting 7.5 points on the road. Man, that's a lot. And to me, San Francisco only getting 3.5 at home against Dallas. I look at that game. It's hard for me to judge. That Tampa team is not very good. If they'd be in any other division, I'd say Tampa wouldn't have won. They wouldn't be in the playoffs. And Dallas went in there and did what they had to do. But that Dallas defense doesn't scare me. And I think San Francisco is going to roll on that defense. I think San Francisco is going to put at least 24 up, maybe 28 up on Dallas. I think Dallas will score a little bit, maybe towards the end. But I love San Francisco, minus 3.5. Yeah. And Kansas City, I think, is going to win by double digits. Jacksonville's, they're getting better and they're on the rise. But this isn't San Diego. They're playing Los Angeles. This is going to be Kansas City. They're playing on the road. I think it might be close for a little while, but I can see this one being a 10 to 14 point win for Kansas City over Jacksonville. But this leads me to my teaser locks. I was 1-1 last week on mine, so I'm still 13 games over 500. But I really like these two games that I picked. How it works is these are single game parlays that I do through DraftKings, obviously. 6-point teaser locks, which means you take the spread, you go 6 points either way. I'm adding 6 points to San Francisco to make them a 2.5-point underdog at home against Dallas. And I think both teams are going to score at least 41 points. So there you go. You get plus 105 on that one. So you bet a sawbuck, you get 1050 back. And I just think San Francisco is going to win that one outright. But for the teaser lock purposes, how can you not love them getting 2.5? And then the other teaser lock that I've got, again, let's go back to that Giants game against Philly. What I like the most about the Giants really is their defense. And it's like Jimmy said, they'll punch you in the mouth. And I'm not too sold on the running game of Philadelphia. I know Miles Sanders is having a great year, or a good year, but I just don't know the health of Hurts. I love Jalen Hurts. I've always liked him in college, as a college. I loved him in Alabama, really liked him in Oklahoma. I think he's a very mature quarterback, but he's banged up. And, that means a lot. Let me take these off. That means a lot. And I don't know. I don't know how healthy he is. He didn't look healthy in that last game of the regular season. I know, it didn't mean a whole lot, and the Giants didn't play everybody. But how you take the 6-point teaser lock, all of a sudden the Giants are a 13.5-point underdog. It's a division game. The Giants have got some confidence. And they're, as much as I'm not a fan of New York teams, I'm betting with my head here. And I think their defense is going to hold down Philadelphia. I think it's going to be maybe a 24-20 game. I like that one. I like that teaser. So get take the Giants plus 13.5, under 54.5 for a total for plus 105. And if you do the super teaser or whatever you want to call it, plus 320, if you take both of these 6-point teaser lock parlays, you bet $10, you get 32 back. Man, it's hard not to do. It's hard not to do. So those are the kind of the bets I like. So I'm going to take Kansas City. If I were betting with the spread, I'm take Kansas City laying the 8.5. That Buffalo game's literally a coin flip with that line. What Buffalo team is going to show up? Like Jimmy said, sooner or later, you can't play with emotion. You got to start playing smarter. And maybe they will against Cincinnati. You know, the old adage where it's tough to beat a team 3 times in a row, it kind of hits Cincinnati a little bit. But I just don't know how to pick that one. I'm going to take Buffalo at home, but I might lay the 5 points. But as a betting person, I'm not going to touch that game. I'm going to leave that one alone. San Francisco, like I said, minus 3.5. I'm taking that to the bank. I think they're going to beat Dallas by at least 7. I think that one's going to be 28-20, maybe 31-20. Because I don't think Dallas's defense is that good. They might put a few points up, but I'm taking San Francisco all day on that one. And, the other one, Philadelphia minus 7.5. That's a lot. I'd take the Giants. I could be wrong, but I don't think I am. I think the Giants will cover. So there you go. So there's the 4 games right there for the teaser parlays. And just you kind of, again, let's take a look at the lines one more time. Kansas City minus 8.5 over Jacksonville. Those are the favorites obviously with the minus. And if you look at them, all the home teams are favored. I don't have an issue with any of that. I think San Francisco should be favored by more. I think it's a little bit of fool's gold with Dallas with that game over Tampa. Tampa did not look good at all. And Tom Brady looked just disheveled in that game from what I saw. He looked off. And I don't know. I don't see it. So I would take Kansas City in the points, laying the points. I would take the Giants getting the points. I don't know. I'm not saying a word on that Buffalo game because I really don't know. If I had, if my life depended on it, I would take Buffalo laying the 5, but I think Cincinnati may cover that one. I love San Francisco all day and half the night, minus 3.5 on that one. We talked a little bit briefly. We're going to wrap up the show again. The Jim Harbaugh circus. Sounds like he's back for now. No details on a contract extension. I think that he should be. I think he should be in Michigan. We talked about it. They got a lot coming back. Hopefully their defense shows up in the big. Obviously they're undefeated, but their defense laid an egg in that game against TCU. And I look at what he's got coming back. He's got McCarthy coming back, Corum. The defense. He's got his weapons coming back. And let's face it, they've got Ohio State at home. Their toughest game next year is going to be Penn State. With all due respect to Michigan State, I know they're playing them up in East Lansing, but Michigan State to me they're coming off a 5-7 record, and I don't see them improving a whole lot on that. They might be bowl eligible. That'll be their quote unquote championship game when Michigan comes to town. So, they're going to play with a lot of emotion, and that'll carry them, especially after what happened with Tunnel Gate. But I think Michigan is they're primed to make a run. But come on, Jim. Please don't do this to us every year. It's getting old. You're like Aaron Rodgers. And that's not a very good, that to me is not a very good comparison, because but you're both divas. They're both divas. And we talked about Aaron Rodgers a little bit. My question is he going to give up that $59.5 million contract? No way. I will be shocked if Aaron Rodgers doesn't play next year. He's not going to give up that kind of money. And what team he's going to be in Green Bay if he does take it. What team is going to trade for him and take that kind of cap hit? You really think Tennessee's going to do it? I don't see it. Do you think he'd want to play for the Raiders? I don't know if Devontae Adams want him there. I think he's in Green Bay. Where else is he going? Who else is going to take on that contract? That's the thing. Say what you want. Who else is going to take that contract? Well, that's going to do it. Hey, it's been a fun hour. It always is. Appreciate Jimmy Young for joining us, host of the Peeking Inside the Grapevine. You can hear that on pasty.net and also on WMPL Radio. He's on every Tuesday and Thursday with great guests up there in the Houghton Hancock area. So I want to thank Jimmy for always taking time out to be on the show. We want to thank you, the listener, and you, the viewer. You can listen to a podcast version of this show. Tomorrow we'll be on Spotify, iTunes, Apple Podcast as well. You name it, we'll be on it. And of course, you can watch a replay on the Captain Lou Sports Network on YouTube. Captain Lou saying, keep your heads up, keep your sticks down, keep your feet moving. And as always, keep your minds open. Thanks for joining us tonight. We'll see you next Tuesday for another edition of the ACHA Power Play at 7 o'clock and next Wednesday night at 7 o'clock for another edition of the Captain Lou Extravaganza. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Until then, Captain Lou saying so long.